Now another part of the flower. Let us study morphology of flower. Flowering plants are called as angiosperm. You know that. Angiosperms are called as flowering plants. Flowering plants. Now, flower is the reproductive part of the plant that we have to remember. Let us see which are the various parts of a flower. Which are the various parts of a flower. This is the green part of the flower. This is called as calyx. They are commonly called as sepal. Green part. When you hold the rose, red rose, you have seen that green part, this one. Calyx or sepal. It has two functions. One is it is green in color, so definitely it will participate in the process of photosynthesis. Second, it protects the flower in bud condition. During bud condition, we can see only this, not the petal. Now the next is colorful petals. Okay. These are petals. Technically it is called as corolla. Corolla means petal. Generally petals are colorful. Rose of different color, hibiscus of different color, and the purpose of the petal is it helps in attracting the insect, butterfly and birds for the process of pollination. So corolla and calyx, they indirectly participate in the process of reproduction. Now the main reproductive part, male and female, at the center there will be female reproductive part called as pistil. This is called as pistil. Pistil has three parts. This is stigma. This is stigma. This one is style. And this is ovary. Stigma, style, ovary. This is ovary. And inside the ovary there will be ovules. These are ovules. This is female reproductive part. We call it as pistil or carpel. Even it is technically called as gynoecium. We call it as gynoecium. Whereas the male reproductive part, is called as stamen. It is technically called as androecium, and this is anther. This is anther, and here the pollen grains are present. I'll write here pollen grains. Pollen grains are present. Now we have to remember one thing. Some of the flower contains both the male and female reproductive structure. Such flowers are called as bisexual flower. Bisexual flower. Some of the flower contains any one. In one flower you will find only female reproductive structure, pistil. In another flower you will find only male reproductive structure, stamen. And we call such flower as unisexual flower. Unisexual flower. Now, flowers sometimes occur singly, single flower, and sometimes it occurs in group. When flowers occur in group or cluster, we don't call them as flower, we call them as inflorescence. We call them as inflorescence. Inflorescence. Cluster of flower or group of flower is called as inflorescence. Now in flower, if I take, this is, as I told you, this is the female reproductive part, stigma, this is style, and this is ovary. inside the ovary, ovules are present. Ovules contain female gamete, that is egg. Now this is male reproductive structure, that is stamen. And you know that this is anther. Here pollen grains are, this is called as filament. This is called as filament. And here pollen grains are powder-like structure. We call it as pollen grains. Okay. And pollen grains contain male gamete. Pollen grain contains male gamete. Now you know what is fertilization. Fertilization is fusion of male and female gamete to form zygote. So now the male gamete present in pollen grain should fuse with the female gamete present in ovule. So what should happen? These pollen grain should come and fall on the stigma. It should come and fall on the stigma. Transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma is known as pollination. And the agents which help in the process of pollination are called as pollinating agent. It can be bird, it can be insect, it can be honeybee, it can be butterfly, it can be wind, it can be water, sometimes monkeys. Okay. So accidentally when these animals move from one flower to another flower, it causes pollination. And plants, they use a different trick to attract the insect, butterfly. One is with their colorful petal by which they attract the insect. If you take example of jasmine flower, which is white in color, so color cannot attract the insect. Then how do they attract the insect? They attract the insect by its fragrance, sweet smell. Even some of the flower, they have sweet substance in it called as nectar. So say honeybee or butterfly visit that flower to suck the nectar, and during the process of sucking that nectar, the pollen grains will get attached to their body. The same insect or bird will go and sit on another flower, then the pollen grain will fall. Finally, from here, the pollen grain germinate and it fuses with this ovule. Here the fertilization takes place. Both male and female gamete fuse here to form zygote. So remember, ovules later develops into seeds. Ovules develop into seed, and this ovary develops into fruit. So which part of the flower becomes fruit? Ovary becomes fruit. Which part of the flower becomes seed? Ovule becomes seed. If there are 40 or 50 ovules, that fruit contains 40 or 50 seeds, as in case of papaya, as in case of watermelon. If there is only one ovule, single ovule, then that fruit contains single seed, as in case of mango. If only two ovule, that fruit contains only two seed, as in case of groundnut. And what is the purpose of the seed? Seed, when fall on the ground, and when that seed gets favorable condition like water, then it germinates into new plant. What is the purpose of the fruit? What is the purpose of the fruit? Fruit is very sweet to taste. So animals like that fruit. They take that fruit, they eat it. For example, a monkey takes a mango, eats. A half portion is eaten by a monkey. It jumps to several trees. It may move half a kilometer from there, and after eating that fruit, it drops seed there. Thus, fruit is used by the plant for the dispersal of seed. Seed will move from one place to another place. It is only because of fruit. Otherwise, why the monkey would have taken that seed to that distance? So these all are the various adaptations in case of flowering plant. So that is all about morphology of flowering plant. Root, stem, leaf, flower, seed and fruit. Thank you, students.